Hi, everyone. We need to look at the change in continuity tool for high school. Now, when you look at this tool, you might be a lot overwhelmed, not even a little overwhelmed. There's so much going on here, right? It says continuity and change tool. Oh my goodness, you're looking at this going, help, how will I ever figure this out? But instead of freaking out when you see this and all its many different parts, going to ask you to think. Think? Yep. I'm going to ask you to think. Okay? You're going to think about yourself. Okay, and different things that happened during your life. When you're going to think now, you're going to think about, first thing you're thinking about, I know you're like, what? Yeah, this is what I need you to do. Okay, I need you to think about 3 important life events. Stop for a minute and think. And while you're thinking, I just want to give credit to the person who shared this idea with me. Her name is Lisa Hyman. She is from Cucamonga, California. She's a teacher out there, a history teacher, and she introduced me to this concept of how to do this. So again, we're thinking about 3 important life events. Now, to a regular outside person, these events might not seem important, but if they're important to you and what makes you you, that's what's important. You're narrowing it down to 3. You could stop the video, you could think, you might even want to write them down. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to do after this. Okay? I want you to place them in chronological order, meaning you're putting them in order of how they happen. So if you wrote them down, you should have written them down. If not, stop right now, write it down. You're going to put them in chronological order. That's always important in history. What came first, right? The order things happened in. And you should write the a date. You don't have to write, like the exact date. And then when you do that, maybe think about why it's important to you. Kind of like if you were in my classroom, I would tell you to write down why this date is important now that you've put it in order. And again, if you're in my classroom, I would actually have you make a visual, meaning like in your mind, like, why do you remember this date? What's important to you, or a symbol or something? Okay. And then the last step, and this is you're going to do analysis now on these 3 events from your life. You're going to actually analyze what changed and what remained the same. You're actually analyzing the continuity and change for the events, or change and continuity. What stayed the same throughout? Is it a sport you loved, a event you loved, an action, who you're friends with, that you're close to one of your relatives? Or what changed? Maybe you used to be really shy. I used to be really shy, long story. Um, New skill. If you would have asked me to write this in 7th grade, I would have written that I just learned how to swim. And today I volunteer for the Red Cross teaching lifeguards. So yes, things have definitely changed over the time. And the things that changed, that's like one category. And they're the things that stayed the same. So what you've actually just done in your brain is thought about change and continuity. Okay. You're analyzing what stayed the same. What in my life, I have the 3 things are constant, are always there, versus what has changed. Have you moved? Are you in a new school, in a new neighborhood? So when you think about this and you're thinking about what stayed the same, again, that is continuity. That is something that's always been there. You're like tracing that similarity through time, versus that's the change over time. So when you see the change and continuity tool, you're not getting nervous from this. You're kind of just doing what you did already. What did you do already? Again, you thought about something. You thought about 3 events, although the tool is going to ask you to probably use like 6. And instead of it being life events, the tool is going to ask you for 6. And instead of being life events, obviously it's going to be, instead of life, have mercy. I have to try writing historical now. No laughing. So we have 6 historical events. It's going to ask you to put them in chronological order. Okay, and all of this is on the tool. You're like, help, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You know how to do it. Then you're thinking about what changed, what stayed the same. They're going to ask you to do this for different events and different sources. You're going to analyze it. Okay. You're going to think about it. That's going to be continuity and change. So you're going to be ready to use the tool, right? Look, okay, this is the change and continuity tool. The first step, it asks you to talk about it, develop, where it happened, causes, period. All this is really doing is asking you the title and when it started and finished. You see, beginning and end. Okay, where, what. This you're all going to probably get straight off the sources your teacher is giving you. Causes, what made this happen. Then this is usually going to be your enduring issues question. Next, this 6 most important events, it says internal, external. I wouldn't be afraid of that internal, external thing. Okay. Remember, guys, beginning date, end date, that is what you need to focus on. Internal actions, external actions, the teacher might talk about it, but remember, they're saying 6 most important events. It's kind of like the 6 dates you pulled out for your life. Next, they want you to group it. Characteristics, meaning what things, what descriptions do they have? And then conditions that are outside the United States. Meaning it's different ways of describing it. You don't, I mean, there's directions on how to do it. It's the type of thing that happened inside the United States and what led to it outside the United States. I wouldn't worry about it. It's kind of like what you were talking about going back here with when you put them in order and you thought about what kind of like what was going on when you were thinking about it. That's all it is. Okay. Now there's step 4, um, which kind of is a little, it says 3 characteristics from step 3 that you have the strongest evidence for documents. Here's how I would do it. I would go to this column first. I would think about what changed and what stayed the same about every source. Notice it's telling you from the beginning and the end of the period. They're asking you to get specific with kind of what you put, going back here to what changed and what stayed the same. Going back here again, meaning for what changed, what remained the same. Okay? And the last step, they want you to summarize it. What changes, what stays the same? Why does it endure? Remember, we have enduring issues and changes. What's significant? What caused the change? Who benefited from it? Who challenged? Who didn't like the change? Who benefited from continuity? Who was marginalized, meaning who's pushed to the side as things remain the same. So again, this tool, it can look really scary, really, really scary. But if you go back to thinking about what has stayed the same, what changed, think about events from your life, remember, it's really not that bad. You got this. Of course you got this because you thought about it. And now you know how to use it. Hope it works out for you.